Hello everyone, I'm Minoxen, and this is going to be a post-commentary on some 4.0 German gameplay, and well, I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I decided to go into the 4.0 Churchill here at the beginning of the match. Notice that the spawn points was 400, so I believe it was 400 in this match. That means that it's a 4.3, and even at 4.3, this tank has a pretty good opportunity to survive, because one thing that I did notice in playing this captured Churchill, that I like it a lot more than the British version of this tank. And the reason that I guess the main reason for that is just because you do not run into the Russian and the German guns that can kill you as much. Now, the Russian guns are definitely going to be something that you still run into, because most of the time in the realistic battles it will match you against Russians, Americans, and British. But the deadly German guns are taken out of the equation, and so are the deadly Japanese guns in most cases. I have yet to run into a Germans versus Japanese since they have started doing that in realistic. So I opt to go to Bravo here, because I know that Alpha is hotly contested, and usually whoever's the fastest manages to get that, so I'm not going to get any spawn points there, so I'm just going to take my lumbering self on towards Bravo. Now, you'll note that I have the indicators on in here, and I have them on so that way we can see what I missed to notice, and I'll try and do my best to toggle that on and off throughout the recording here, so it kind of demonstrates what I didn't see. Now, I see he's getting engaged, but I don't see by what. Oh, and it is a little Zis truck, so I'm going to try and hit him and then open up with the machine guns. I was a little late on the machine guns. If I'd have started sooner, I might have gotten him killed there, and he wouldn't have hurt our Puma coming up here shortly. But I am playing in a three-man group for this match. I believe the other two guys went over towards... No, one is with me, and one went towards Alpha. Get a chance to machine gun this guy. Will I be able to finish him? There we go. Managed to finish off the little Zis guy. But I'm going to continue pushing up here, and keeping my barrel pointed towards the road that I know comes from their spawn towards Bravo, because that's usually the easiest way to get in here. Now, they will come in from the right sometimes, or come directly in front of my tank's location now, but I'm trying to keep my gun pointed and my tank angled to be able to take a shot from that forward-left position. And I see the Panzer IV is engaged on something, or something's messing with him there, but I can't see anything initially, and he's got smoke up, so I'm going to try and focus on whatever it is that's on Bravo here, because I saw an explosion behind this house whenever it fired, and I'm going to try and see if I can spot it again there. There was the puff, and I do not know what it is yet, but as I hill hump here, it is a T-34, and I cannot get depression on it, so I'm going to regret using reverse in a British tank. And try to get to a spot to where I can help, because my buddy that I'm playing with is on the left. Killzone's over there on the left side, and he is engaged by that T-34, so I'm going to try and move up. Now I notice this Stug moves up here, so I'm going to open fire with my machine gun to try and warn him that, hey, there's someone sitting here, just in case he doesn't see him, and then pull forward to try and get a shot in. I failed my shot, but thankfully so did he, and as I look right, I see the KV, and got a super lucky first shot there. Got right in through the turret ring, and then I'm going to struggle to find that weak spot again. Ultimately, I'm going to find it just a little bit above the barrel on the right side. Managed to get through and get a kill on that. I saw a shot sail over the right side, but I'm mostly just wanting to get on this cap so I can get cap points, because that's the easiest way. But no, my engine's taken out. I'm going to miss out on the cap points. I'm going to get my gun positioned. I cannot see who shot me, so I go ahead and use the fire extinguisher. And if there is a tip to be had in this moment, is to say that your tank can burn for a fairly decent amount of time. So if you're able to take the moment to find your target and hopefully get a shot off before you hit your fire extinguishers, because you're going to have to reload, or it'll stop your reloading, or anything that you're doing as soon as you use a fire extinguisher. Now, in hindsight here, I really wish that I would have been able to have gotten repositioned, but unfortunately, since my engine was out and he just took my track off, I was not able to give up on this face-off here any sooner. Now, this is a good example of binocular sniping, But unfortunately, it was not a battle that I should have tried to continue, just because there's no way my 6-pounder gun's going to get through that dang sloped armor at this distance. So I finally get my track back on. I'm going to move up onto the cap, replace a crew member, and angle my armor towards this guy so he can't get in anymore. And I see the top of that turret. Now, I don't have the marker on my screen, but I see the top of that turret, and I try to hit, and yep, he's still there. But what I'm doing is I'm firing and looking away so he doesn't have a flat surface to hit my turret on. And then I move away, waiting here. I only got his loader. Gonna go ahead and try again. And at this point is the first time I think I see that T-34 still over there, because I'd originally thought this was that T-34 until I actually got through to the loader where I could see that it was a Chaffee. So I decide to go ahead and pull forward a little bit better here to get a better angle on the T-34, but he just died. Now this is a misplay here. I should have angled my tank a little bit better. If you'll see, my barrel is pointed up over the right side. I should have angled just about right there, just to where my turret is pointing diagonally over that front right corner of my tank. That's about the most optimal positioning for the Churchill to get your maximum armor. And I see that this guy's engaged here with an M10. I'm going to try and turn to assist. I cannot see the thing. So, oh, he must have blown it up. I don't know if I did or did not know that he had engaged it or that it had died or not. And then, yes, it did go ahead and die there. Saw something shoot over top of me, but was it over here? Nope. Shooting at funny shaped rocks. Or in that case, logs. But I'm going to keep moving forward here on Bravo. Unfortunately, I did not get the cap, but I am going to continue moving forward towards this hill here. Whenever I spot this T-34, I get a nice diamond up position. He hits low on my hull and actually does not get through, so I'm able to get through on his turret, and he backs quickly down the hill before I can pursue any further. Checking my 6, make sure I'm not going to get shot in the butt if I decide to move forward. Okay, now I'm exposing my right side. Now I do not see this T-34 that is on my right moving around this building until right about now. And I got lucky here. Got through, got his driver and machine gunner. Get through, take his cannon breech out. Now I can take my time, go ahead and go for the gunner and loader there. Kill the crew. And now I'm refocused back on that T-34, although I should be concerned on that tank that I just glimpsed on the right. But I did not see that tank, and you can just blame me for being blind. And I did see I got shot on the right, but whenever I glanced that way, I just did not see whatever it was that was shooting me. But I figured, well, it hasn't gotten me yet, so I'm just going to keep my side to it. And the T-34, unfortunately, I did not get. And what ends up to be an Achilles from a long ways away locked my turret in place. So my best survival situation now is just try to diamond up to this Cromwell and the T-34 that's in front of me over here on the right. So I get to a low spot, stop moving, and use neutral turn as best as possible until they take my track out. And this angle's about the best I'm going to get. So I've stopped here and I'm trying to repair, and I absorb a lot of punishment. And if only I'd been able to pull forward a little bit further, I think I could have survived even longer, because ultimately it was the Achilles from across the field that killed me. And that was a really good example of how this 4.0 Churchill in the hands of the Germans fares a lot better than the 4.0 Churchill in the hands of the British. Now I had plenty of spawn points even though I didn't get the cap, because as a heavy tank, part of your job is absorbing damage, and well, I did certainly a lot of that in addition to getting a couple of kills. So I love taking the duck out. I'm going to do some ground pounding here. And I don't believe I see that I-53 up there. Again, I don't have my markers in the actual battle. This is just for your benefit and my benefit to say, oh, I should have been paying better attention. Now I'm going to turn this off here so we can better see this SPG that I thought was a 4.0 Churchill, but ultimately ends up to be a 3.0 3-inch gun carrier. And so I'm trying to line up here on him. I fire my first shot. It hits him. I'm actually kind of amazed, but it didn't really do any damage. So I make a second shot, skips over the back of his armor, hit him one more time in the side, and I have to pull up, otherwise I'm going to eat trees. And ultimately, that was probably a mistake. The 3-inch gun carrier is very difficult to penetrate the armor on. It's actually got really good armor for this battle rating. And there's that pest that is up here with me. Now, it didn't look like he got much, but he took out my elevator. And without my elevator, I am sadly not long for this world. And go down, having only shot that 3-inch gun carrier a few times. And so the P-47 here enjoys his kill as I decide to respawn in my captured T-34, which is also a 4.0 for the Germans. I immediately saw that whirlwind on my left, so I was a little concerned, thinking that either we were being spawn camped or that it was an enemy tank because it didn't have a marker. But thankfully it was just a dead ally that had been sniped from some distance, most likely. So I'm still being cautious to try and keep some cover in front of me. And I know that 3-inch gun carrier's up here because I've got my buddies on TeamSpeaker telling me about him. And I probably spend a little bit too much time here trying to get this guy. I do go ahead and load up armor piercing cap rigid, the APCR rounds on this next shot, maybe, hopefully. Come on, Mino, don't take that long. Here are the bombs, gotta back up. And we are losing currently, and my primary goal should be getting this cap back, which we have alpha, so if we didn't have alpha, I'd probably be moving to try and secure that first, since that is the easiest one to reach from spawn. But since we do have that, I'm going to try and get Bravo here, and I don't really feel like I can do much at Bravo until I get rid of this 3-inch gun carrier. But obviously not going to do that from this distance, so I decide to move up since he seems to be being pushed back. And I'm going to try and get into the low ground where maybe he cannot hit me. I'm trying to remember where my teammates were at this time. I think Killzone may have been dead, but I think Maverick GTO is in the air now, and he is going to be absolutely crucial to the remainder of this game with his target calling from the air and his strafing to help me spot things. So like I said, I'm going to try and move up here onto Bravo, keeping an eye where that 3-inch gun carrier is. Now I don't notice this Zis right off the bat on the right here, but there, I did notice him right as I went by these trees. And unfortunately, I do not get the kill on this first shot like I should have. If I'd aimed a little lower, I'd have gotten through to his driver and he would have been helpless. I did take out both his gunner and loader, but I got shot from the front left. And notice this little dude here. Take him out in one shot. The turret rotation on this thing is amazing. I love this captured T-34. And so I cannot see the little guy there, and I know that 3-inch gun carrier's up here. Actually, I think I now finally see him, that he is sitting here. I'm going to try and get my gun down, but unfortunately, the Russian gun depression is horrible, and the Germans didn't see fit to fix it. So he's going to be trying to move up onto my location. I've notified Mav about the Zis 30 there. That Bf-109's trying to strafe him, and he kind of eats some turf here and fails, and ends up actually kind of partially blinding Mav as he makes his pass in the plane to try and keep him busy. So I'm trusting that Mav's keeping that guy busy. I go ahead and get the 3-inch gun carrier, and now I can focus on this darn Zis. And he realizes I'm actually looking at him now. And instead of firing the machine gun, I should have fired the cannon there, but I got a little greedy with the machine gun. I should have just gone straight away for the cannon shot. Now, this little bugger is going to be a thorn in my side because I've got to get all the way up here before I can actually shoot at him. And I didn't think he was pointed at me, but he was. So, I've lost some crew members. I'm going to head up to Bravo here, take a defensive position. I know that most of the time they're going to be coming from pretty much in front of my tank now, pretty where the gun is pointed, where that road comes up into Bravo. I should have been paying a little bit better attention to my mini-map, because I'm about to get startled here pretty soon when this whirlwind you can see in the bottom right is going to be coming up from behind to assist me. I'm waiting for it. Because I heard a tank, and then I had to immediately turn around and figure out what... Oh, God. Where is it? Where? And so I'm just patiently trying to wait here for Bravo to continue capping. Maverick is giving me aerial information. He said that he sees someone coming up from the main road. and unfortunately I can't really see anything at this point. He said it was still a little ways out, and there's some strafing going on. But I do go ahead and get the capture. I'm going to replace my crewman. And there was he surprised me again. There was the whirlwind that snuck up on me that I did not notice was coming to assist me. Definitely one key gameplay aspect that you can always do to try and improve yourself is to pay attention to your mini-map in the bottom right. I think in the replays it's a little bit smaller than what it is in the actual game, so it's a little bit harder. But just try and keep an eye on that and pay attention to what allies are around you. It just makes you that much better of a player in the end there, because you're able to play alongside your teammates and know where to reinforce or where enemies might be flashing on the map because someone else has hit them. So that Achilles that killed me is still way across the way there, and I did not notice that tiny glimpse of the 105 on my left. And thankfully, it's a 105, so he's not going to get his first lucky shot on me here. Even though he got a dead broadside shot, he did not kill me. So I am going to turn and engage. Unfortunately, my first shot was a big old whiff. Hit his optics and nothing else. And I guess he must just have only high explosive rounds or something. He must be trying to spec this tank out, because I should have truly been dead a couple of times now. But I do disable him, go around for the engine shot. Hindsight, probably should have gone just go ahead and shoot the turret to clear out the crew right then and there. Do get hit from behind. I do not see the target. I'm swiveling my gun around to try and get eyes on it. And that darn Achilles from across the map gets me again. So now I'm going to be hopping over into my Premium Panzer IV and the 4.0. Unfortunately, the German lineup does not really get that many 4.0s naturally. It gets the 88mm flak truck, which is an amazing vehicle. Just needs to be played at distance and as a tank destroyer. And if you're hoping to get the most out of it anyways. And they also get the Stug, which is also a tank destroyer. That's a 4.0. But they have a good selection of 3.7s that you can run alongside these guys if you have space. The Whirlwind is what I bring for my anti-air, but I did not actually end up getting to use that this match. Now, we have Alpha and Bravo, but we are just hanging on by a sliver. And I think that in my mind here, I'm reasoning that Alpha is our closest capture point, so most likely they're not going for Alpha. They're going to be trying to get Bravo back. Obviously, that Achilles was closer to Bravo than it was to Alpha, so maybe he's decided to move across the field and try and get there. But I'm going to go ahead and move up here as the only one of 3 now ground targets left on our side. Now, I do go ahead and call for artillery here based on what Maverick was telling me over the radio. He was telling me that they were on their way in through the main road there. So I dropped some artillery in advance without having seen any markers, because I don't know why, and maybe some of you guys in the comments can tell me, but I do not always get the markers to show up whenever an enemy is strafed by an airplane. It seems to be really intermittent. Now you can see that guy right there is flashing for me. I think my artillery grazed him. Someone is on Bravo, so I'm worried about someone being in my immediate proximity. I spot this T-34, but thanks to some good air support, he's not going to be my problem. And thanks to the markers, we can see the M10, but I don't see him until right now. Thank you, Mav, for letting me know he was climbing up on the edge of the hill there. And I'm going to go ahead and push forward to get back onto Bravo and take that over, because being tied in caps, what would happen if they managed to get Alpha or even start taking Alpha down is that we would immediately start bleeding tickets. And if we start bleeding tickets, game's over, because we're hanging on by a thread here. Mav tells me that there is a guy coming up the road and someone moving for that location closer to where that M10 was that I just shot. So I'm sitting here staring at the road, hoping that I'll be able to notice when this guy comes up. I notice a little stir in the dust and managed to get the shot off there. And honestly, a little bit surprised, because I don't think that I could really honestly see him through the smoke very well. Now the one that he was instructing me where the M10 was, there's a guy where the M10 was, and come up over here and see the Valentine right after he'd strafed it. I was a little off target initially, but do go ahead and get the kill here on him. I thought this was an ally that was dropping bombs in the incorrect location, going for the now dead Valentine. So I don't warn Mav that there's an enemy air up immediately, and he ends up a little cross about that. But I did say over TeamSpeak I thought an ally just bombed me. And then ultimately, as he's like, hey, there's a plane up here. I'm like, oh yeah, there is a plane up there. And I'm still disabled. My barrel's broken, my engine's messed up, I'm trying to repair, and we are coming very, very super close to winning this. And I realize I'm not going to be able to shoot this guy, so I'm going to try and run away before he drops any more bombs on me. And thankfully, they are just a little off target. And with that, I think that pretty much wraps this match up. Going back over things as far as mistakes that I made, I think I really could have done a better job in the Churchill as my primary there. I could have angled a lot better. My awareness was definitely not the best. I missed a few obvious cues, especially in watching it in the replay, and again here now. Noticed several times when I caught a glimpse of an enemy, but just did not happen to register in my brain because I was too occupied with other targets. So always try and keep your head on a swivel and pay attention as close as you can to everything around you. Anyways, guys, I won't ramble anymore here. Hopefully you enjoyed this post-commentary. This is definitely a little bit easier on the editing side of things, so in between my primary spotlight episodes, I'll most likely do post-commentaries like this, so I can give you all some content to be able to enjoy. In the meanwhile, this does give you a little bit of a look forward to a few of my next spotlights. I've got the Panzer IIH coming up, the M3 Lee and Grant, and then 3 tanks that were featured in this video, the Churchill, the T-34, and the Panzer IV premiums. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below with your suggestions and thoughts. Also, come visit me on Twitch and Twitter. If you enjoyed this and would like to see more, check the description or annotation for a link to my Tank Spotlight playlist. War Thunder is free to play, and if you want to try it out, please use my referral link in the description to support the channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you next time.